Which lenses are wide-angle lenses? Sounds like a stupid question, right? But I had that question, so maybe you have as well. First of all, don't feel that this is a stupid question, because everyone starts from somewhere and everyone's had this question at some point, which I did as well. So I was looking online, googling wide angle lens and searching on shops, searching for wide angle lens, and almost nothing came up because none of the lenses actually on title say wide angle lens. So I thought, which lenses are wide angle lenses? How do I know if this is a wide angle lens or not? So I want to answer the question, which lenses are wide angle lenses? What tells you that these are wide angle lenses? There's mainly two measurements about lenses that you need to know what they mean. So one of them is the measurement that is marked by millimeters on the lens. For example, this lens here is 50 millimeters. This lens here is 70 to 210 millimeters. This one is 24 to 70 millimeters. And this one is 18 to 125 millimeters. Now, what do these millimeters mean? The bigger the number of the millimeters, the further away it's zoomed in. The smaller the millimeter, the wider angle it is. So this is 24 millimeters. And this is pretty wide angle lens. It's 24 to 70, so it goes further in and it goes 24 as well. So the smaller the number is, the wider the angle is. So if you see somewhere a 14 millimeter, this is extremely wide. 7 millimeter, that's almost a fisheye. Well, it is a fisheye. The smaller the number on the millimeters, the wider the angle of the lens. And the bigger the number, the further you zoomed in. Now, this is how you know what are the wide angle lenses. The second measurement that is measured by lenses is the aperture, f. Now, the f means how much light does that lens let into the camera. But we're not talking about aperture about the lenses at the moment. We are talking about which lenses are wide angle lenses. Now, if you know that smaller number millimeter means wider angle lens, then there is another thing that you need to consider, because there are lenses for different sensor sizes. Depending on the sensor size, it depends what that lens is equivalent to. There are mainly micro four thirds sensor sizes, then there is APS-C sensor sizes, then there's full frame length sensor sizes, and there's medium format, but medium format is not usually used for video. There are three types of lenses. Each of the sensor sizes have their own lenses, but also you can adapt lenses between them. But you have to know that you can only adapt the bigger size lenses to the smaller size sensor sizes. So if you took a lens that's meant for a smaller sensor size, then you would have a massive vignette on your image because your eyes are bigger than what you're looking through. Basically, what it means is, it would mean something like that. You'd see a massive vignette on the sides like this because, the sensor is bigger than the lens. Like you're looking through this. But full frame sensors have a bigger tube that the eye can look through, and it doesn't have the vignette on the side. In a very simple way, this is what it means. If you take a full frame lens and put it on an APS-C size sensor, then the lens becomes 1.4 times the amount it is. Because it's a smaller size sensor, and by the physics how the lens is built and what size your sensor is. So all the numbers, millimeters on the lens that you have to times them by 1.5. So this 24 to 70 would become 36 to 105. So if I put this same lens on a micro four thirds size sensor camera, then there is 2 times the crop. So which means that all these millimeter, what this lens is equivalent to, will become twice what it is. So this lens would become 48 to 140, if that makes sense. So now, if you're looking for lenses, then you have to know what type of sensor is in your camera. And then knowing that, you would have to, know that if you want a really wide angle, then you'd either maybe have to go a bit more if it's a crop sensor or a micro four thirds size sensor. So this is basically very simplified. I hope this was simple enough for you to understand which lenses are wide angle lenses and which lenses are tele lenses. Did that make sense? So let's recap. Conclusion. What is this? Basically, there is millimeters on the lens, and that is equivalent how wide or zoomed in the lens is. So the smaller the number on the millimeters, the wider the angle of the lens, and then the bigger the millimeters on the lens, the further zoomed in it is. And then there is the sensor sizes. Remember, there is full frame, APS-C size, and then micro four thirds. There is a bit more size lenses, even smaller and bigger, but these are the main ones. So full frame is the main, what you'll usually see on the lens is millimeters. That means on the full frame. On an APS-C size, that same lens is times 1.5, and on the micro four thirds, that same lens is twice the amount. Does that make sense? Is that clear enough? I hope it was. And basically this is what a wide angle lens is, and this is how you know whether it's a wide angle lens or not. Thank you very much guys for watching this episode of Tech Notice, where I was just explaining a very simple thing, but actually if you're further on filmmaking, you know, you obviously know this and you're like, why do I, I already know this. But if you just started and you have this question and you can't find an answer to this question, then I hope I was the one who found the answer to your question. Which lenses are wide angle lenses? If you're one of them guys, then please leave a review for this video and let me know if I've done a good job or not by either hitting like or dislike button on the section below. So if you could just take 1 or 2 seconds and then either hit that like button please, or hit that dislike button. Woo! If you're new here, consider subscribing because more videos are coming out weekly. If you're new here, consider subscribing. You can subscribe by hitting that circle thing on that side of the screen. But if you're already subscribed, it's so nice to see your smiling faces. It's nice to see you. Remember guys, videos are coming out weekly and I'll speak to you very, very soon. Okay, see you soon guys. And watch some of these videos on this side as well if you're bored. You can check them out. Okay, bye.